I was screwing around today, and I noticed that last night I had decided to say screw it and was streaming when I was playing the fruit game last night. Um,
I command you for you to do. Our Lord's blessing good. But nobody hears.
Chop the sushi and the banana.
What?
He says chop the sushi and banana.
I got 3,
Yay.
and then watermelon killed me. Popsicle, you bastard. You bastard!
Oh, it's a shame that he died. The other one looked better. Yeah, much better.
I killed myself again.
Ah, yes. This is the way this is supposed to be experienced.
Oh, this is the worst one to have the explosive one on.
What was that?
I've got the explosive boomerang again, and I'm just not in a good place to be having. It's a tiny little like sharp turn thing, and I've got the explosive boomerang. It's the only upgrade I've managed to pick up so far. I won by squishing them with a wall. Oh yeah.
and I learned 2 things. One, my microphone on my, because I didn't have my headphones on, the microphone on my webcam is super fucking sensitive because it was picking up like all of this background noise, including the Les Mis, which is what I was listening to while I was playing. So I learned that, hey, while I'm doing this, I can't have something playing in the background or it'll come up really bad. Lesson learned.
Yeah. There you go.
He's a little high up, so you can't really see him, but you can almost see where I got. That one's autographed and addressed to me because I had.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, I had.
Who's your autograph by?
Neil Gaiman, the guy who made Batman.
Crazy.
Yeah. Cincinnati had a comic expo a few years back that I went to, and I try to go to a couple different conventions every year, 1 or 2, and I haven't in a couple years. And 2 years ago I went to Gen Con. 2 years? Yeah, whatever. I'm a horrible with time. But anyway, Cincinnati has one called the Comic Expo. It's called the Comic Expo. Super creative name. And they don't get right. They put a lot of serious consideration into how they would properly, brand themselves. And they were, what are we? Well, we're a comic expo, so we'll just call us that, you know.
Boy. Yeah.
And but anyway, um, they usually get a couple of pretty decent named people. Um, More often than not, because I think because he lives not too far away or he has a house not too far, they get the original Green Ranger. Um, I think every year they have one or two of the Rangers. I don't even know who the 401st is, but it's like this charity Star Wars fan cosplay group that's pretty much all over the place. They come every year, and then they get a bunch of comic book artists and stuff like that. And so I got I got Neil Gaiman's signature, I got John Rice Davies' autograph, I got a bunch of authors. Okay, look, I have told you this, and I'll say it again. I am the world's biggest fucking geek. But anyway, so the original Green Lantern, Hal Jordan, um, he his family, I think his family got killed by Sinestro. I forget how it happened. But basically, he decided he didn't want to let anyone ever die again. But what he found was that the power of the Green Lantern, as almost ridiculously overpowered as it is, was not enough. Like he could use it to enact change and to create small things, even things as large as like planets and things, but he couldn't like control and protect the entire kind of universe individually. And he wanted more, and he wanted to be able to do more, and so he decided he because he's an idiot. I mean, to be fair, he's just a pilot. But because he's an idiot, he decided that the best way he could possibly do that was to collect all of the Green Lantern's powers from the Lantern Corps. So he went back to the Lantern Corps that had trained him and given him this marvelous weapon, and he killed them all. Um, and in doing so, he claimed all of their power. And for a while, he was running around with like 15 Green Lantern rings on his fingers. And he was ridiculously powerful. And one Green Lantern escaped, went back to Earth, and found this kid, this like teenager, like I think he was like 18 or 19, who was an artist, and is like, I'm giving this to you, but you have to use it for good, because humanity has already failed us once, and now we need it to save us, kind of thing. And it was essentially the Green Lantern against the Green Lantern, where one of them was completely batshit crazy, and the artist, because he was an artist, they have that whole left brain power thing of like being able to think outside of the box. Like, Hal Jordan was good and he was creative, but he'd be like, I'm making a car. I'm making a rocket launcher. I'm making a big hammer to smack somebody with. I'm making a big green fist, that kind of shit. Whereas his replacement, who I brain farting on the kid's name, which is sad because he was cool as hell. But anyway, he because he was an artist, he wasn't limited by that imagination. He could do kind of whatever he wanted. And so because he didn't have the power that Hal Jordan did with all the rings, but what he did have was he was more creative, and he was better at utilizing the power. And he beat the shit out of it. They beat the shit out of each other. And I think it ended with Hal Jordan dying. I think that's how Hal Jordan died. Of course, he came back because it's DC Comics and everybody comes back. But yeah.
Oh no.
Well,
What do you mean?
I have kind of an artist brain myself, and I had observed, like I'd seen his cover art on a lot of different things, including the one I told you about. And so what I did was, I walked up and I was like, I wanted to talk to him because I was excited. I'm like, I love this guy's art. I've always loved this guy's art. I love what he does with superheroes. But he had done a picture of. He also drew covers for Silver Surfer. And this is before the whole DC Marvel cross pollination, not going to be a thing. And he had drawn a picture of the Silver Surfer, and it was one of the first comics I ever bought that was Silver Surfer too. I didn't know this until later, but I found out later, and I was like, oh man. So, but what he had done was he'd drawn this huge, like ridiculously obscenely muscular version of the Silver Surfer. Of course, the Silver Surfer is a skinny, lanky guy that's not very big. It was like if you put the Hulk on like Bane's serum and then added steroids and then shoved the Silver Surfer into the body is what it looked like. And it was just ridiculous. And I bought it because I was curious and because there was a big dragon in the background chasing him. That was why I bought my first Silver Surfer comic. And me having an artist brain and an analytical brain on top of that, like a very strange mix. I came to him and I was like, I want to ask him why he made this decision. Like, what was the motivation? Like, why? Because it was cool and I loved it, but I wanted to know the why. And so I was like, and so I sat there and asked. He's like getting ready to sign this picture, this poster for me, and I was talking to him and I was like, so I have a question. He's like, I said, so you've been doing art for a long time? He's like, yeah, I mean a while, yeah. And I was like, well, I said I loved you to cover Serena Green Lantern and Silver Surfer and all this, and I said, well, I have a question. I said, you back, forever ago, because at this point, I mean, this was like the mid '90s when this comic came out. So hindsight 2020, the man may or may not even remembered. I mean, sure he remembered doing the cover, but he was like, he may or may not have remembered what he was doing at the time. But I was like, so I was just curious why you decided to draw the Silver Surfer this way. I said, because the Silver Surfer is like this little skinny guy, and you drew him as this huge, muscular, like beefy guy. And why did you make that decision? And I think he was having a bad day. Grabs the first person that walks up to him and who knows how long goes, so why did you do this thing you did that everyone is kind of controversially looking at and going, what the fuck? Because it's not one of Silver Surfer's best known covers, and if you go back and you find it, you might find there's a lot of discussion about it because it was very uncommon for that character, and it had nothing to do with the inside of the book. The dragon was in it, and that was it. That was like, it was the only thing. Yeah. Anyway, he was kind of put off by the question. I could tell it. It wasn't that he was rude or nasty. It was very curt the way he responded, and I was like,
probably just in a bad mood.
right. I figured I just caught him on a bad day because he was having a bad day, and then on top of that, here's this fucking guy walk up and be like, "Why did you do your art the way you did your art?" Like, what the fuck was wrong with you? If you're having a bad day, that's the way you're going to take that. If you're not having a bad day, you might look at it and go, oh, I mean, all right. And like you said, it's just a curiosity, because it is kind of a controversial decision to make to completely alter a character just for the cover. You know what? And the Silver Surfer is one of the characters that I'm super pissed that the MCU has essentially ignored. Because they made up like with the Infinity Gauntlet, they were like, there's like one person only that can really handle the whole gauntlet other than Thanos, and it's probably Captain Marvel. And I'm like, Captain Marvel actually couldn't handle the Infinity Gauntlet in the comics. It just wasn't a thing. But anyway, Silver Surfer is one of I think it's 3 or 4 cosmic beings that can actually handle the Infinity Gauntlet, and you don't want him to have it. You really don't. They did a crossover one time of what if the Silver Surfer got the Infinity Gauntlet and he just destroyed everything, because the man is a broken ass, like completely. Like, he's not quite all there. And that's one of the reasons why like it's sad that they don't really delve into him that much, because he's a complex character in a ridiculously overpowered superhero body. But anyway, the 2 characters that could handle the Infinity Gauntlet, there are 3 that were known to have wielded the Infinity Gauntlet even for a brief moment. There's more than that, but there were 3 primaries when the Infinity Crusades were going on, which was the Silver Surfer had it very, very briefly, but then Galactus took it from him. Or Thanos took it from him, rather. So Thanos, Silver Surfer, and Warlock. And they took it, and they completely omitted Warlock from the story. They've completely ignored the existence of the Silver Surfer, and so all there is Thanos, and then the Avengers, and then Captain Marvel somehow can handle it, supposedly. At least it's hinted that she can. and it's just like, look, fuck off. But I'm super duper sidetracked from where I'm at because I got to talking about my picture behind me. That I might
Yeah,
actually lower it a little bit because right now all you can see is his feet.
he got nice boots.
He's got nice boots. That's a really neat looking gargoyle he's standing on. But it's I can't. Can I get this down without? Here. Boop. As you can
So
see,
sick.
right?
Yeah.
And it's, like I said, Neil Gaiman down there. Yeah, I used to read a lot of like Silver Surfer was one of the comics that I read a lot of. I love the Silver Surfer, and he's like this ridiculously powerful character. But the thing about him is the thing I always loved about him was how complex he was. He's not just this dude that can do basically whatever he wants. He is that, but he's so broken. Like, here's this guy who literally has ridiculous powers. Like, he can shoot cosmic energy out of his hands. He's immune to basically any kind of damage. You know, he can siphon energy out of things. He can fly faster than the speed of light on his surfboard. He doesn't have to breathe. He doesn't have to eat. He doesn't, it's a ridiculously powerful character. And the real story behind him isn't his powers. It's his wife died. Mephisto stole his wife. Like, she didn't just die. Mephisto, I think it was Mephisto, took his wife away when he was just a mortal. And in order to save her, that's why he served Galactus. Like, he signed on to serve Galactus to get the power to go rescue her. And then
It
the
sounds complex. Like he'll destroy anything in his path in order to save
yeah.
her.
Yeah, he's very, very singular about his focus, and he makes lots of mistakes and does lots of stupid shit that causes lots of problems for himself and everybody else. Because for all of his ridiculousness, he's just a guy. And you know what it is? It's because what it was about that was because one of the comics where that was made okay. Because so many comics like, yeah, they're like the X-Men are super complex. Well, they are, but are up until more recently especially, none of them were really like Wolverine's got this horrible backstory. Don't be eating Lego people. Don't be eating Lego people. I'm sorry, Dad. I didn't mean to. It was just there, tempting me, and I had to. I just needed it. It was just... You don't judge me. I want to like... Oh, okay, scratches. Okay. All right. Down, Weasel. Down, Weasel dog. Anyway. Yeah, but like even like Wolverine, who's got this ridiculously like sad fucking backstory. And he's not allowed to really show that. Like, he's got to be this like stoic badass all the time, and that's portrayed as what's heroic in most male heroes. Or they might be flawed, but they're all either these stoic badasses, these ridiculously intelligent, like standoffish, unemotional people, or they're completely fucking garbage. Like, Tony Stark is just a garbage human being. And that's pretty much the gamut of comic heroes for men. And the women are no better. I'm not defending that. But then you've got characters like the Silver Surfer, who's like, he's just a guy. And he makes lots of mistakes. And he's emotional. And he makes mistakes based on his emotions and based on his ideas. And he has ideals, but he doesn't always stick to them because they don't feel right in the moment. And yeah, I don't know. I don't think the character gets enough love, but I do understand that in the modern society, he gets diluted down to he can blow up the planets. Yeah, I was right. It was Mephisto. Stole his wife. I'm looking at that Batman picture and realizing it's not just his feet, it's actually like right up to his crotch. It's like, here's Batman's crotch. Enjoy.
So you get boots and schlong.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's just like,
Yeah.
here, Bat Dick. And then my
Can
little
you?
Death Star, sweet Death Star that my sister made for me. Yeah, my sister made this. She likes to cross stitch, and I have a little like baby Yoda that she made me for Christmas, like last year or the year before. And she made this
That's so
this
sweet.
this was 3 years ago, and then last year I think it was last year. No, it was 2 years ago. 2 years ago she made me a baby Yoda, and then this year she didn't make anything. Um, but to be fair, we didn't get together, so
Right.
I have lots of random shit that I would say this is randomly cool shit. But as far as like, and I kind of want, I've got a picture of above this one. There we go. I've got this is actually a map of Conan's world. No, I can't get that back up there. Anyway, I was like,
Yeah, I think
I
that's a great idea.
I should like
Just
hang.
putting some random stuff around and
Right.
like,
What I want to do is I'm thinking I want to get like a hanging another. I've got these hanging shelves on my on a wall over there. They're like they're invisible hanging shelves. So like you put the pegs in, and then you put the shelf there, um, and you could sit shit on it. And I thought, if I'm gonna do these, like as I was kind of filling out and deciding when I might stream and what I might stream and stuff like that, and I was like, well, I don't want to just stream WoW because tons of people stream WoW, and I'm not gonna break into the market of streaming WoW unless I'm doing something exceptional, and I'm not an exceptional WoW player.
well,
I'm
I think the games that you are streaming is gonna be like really helpful because they're so niche that you'll
right.
find like small communities of people who like love this stuff,
Well, and that's kind of my thought process. Is I've got I'm not
and
streaming,
you
so
have
you
like a
can't see it.
way better chance of like
I
kind of forming like a strong base
right. Well,
from
and I
like that versus trying to play like the most popular game right now or a super popular game.
right. Well, that was kind of my thought process. As I'm like, I have Humble Bundle, and I get like 14 free games every month. They're not free. I pay for Humble Bundle, but I get 14 new games every month, or 16 or 12 or whatever it is. It's in the double digits. It's more than enough to be able to stream completely new content and new games anytime I want. Um, like my Steam list, my library with Steam. If I just stick with this, I have 200 and what do I have? I have 137 games on Steam. And admittedly, there's a few like the one I was playing last night. Like when I was playing Carnal Instinct, there's a few like that I probably shouldn't stream on Steam. But those are the outliers as far as total games. I think I might have like maybe 10 of those games or games like that. But for every one of those, I've got the fruit battle royale game or Beast Inside or a Call of Cthulhu game or various like board games. I got Carcassonne and a couple other board games. I got Conan Exiles, which I could stream that as long as I took the nudity off.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, it's a very real problem. Is that I need to put little guys on top of my screen or something so that I know what to look at. Because otherwise, I look down all the time. I'm thinking, I don't know. You'll have to tell me. It's hard to tell. But anyway, I have a ton of like you would call them niche games. They're like, this is a really fucking cool game that no one talks about because it's not Among Us or Cyberpunk or World of Warcraft. They're not. Everybody isn't out there going, this is a badass. Like everyone's playing this game, and some of them they should be.
And I think you'll
uh,
get like a lot of really meaning. You could get like meaningful like viewers who keep
well,
coming back because of stuff like that.
well, and that's
Which is
why
really cool.
like on my schedule as I put it out, I've got it set up to stream 4 days a week. 2 of those days are WoW when I'm doing raiding because that's just easy. I know I'm going to be there. I might as well stream it. I don't think I'll get a ton of people watching it because again, I'm not a like high-end rating WoW player. I don't give a shit to be honest. I like the game, but I don't like. I'm not like playing it all the time and all that shit. I get on there, I play for about the 3 or 4 hours to raid on Mondays and 3 or 4 hours to raid on Fridays, and I might maybe log in one more time during the week, maybe, and by maybe I mean probably not. But I'll be playing other things. I'll be playing Cyberpunk and I'll be playing Among Us or whatever, or various other things. So yeah, I can stream those Blizzard games or those big name games all I want, but I'm watching a lot of videos and stuff, and this is already kind of a thought I had anyway. It's my responsibility as the GM. My role as a player, as the GM, is to provide the NPCs for people to work with, provide the story, make sure everyone having fun, all that engagement, and that gets completely shut down if a player walks in and says, "This is how all of this works," and then the GM's like, "All right, so I have to play this one character that you created in your PC. Is she's a bubbly, friendly person that likes to fuck you every Thursday?" Okay, why? Like what are you getting out of that? You really at that point, you really are just want to write your own story, and then you reach the point of why are you even playing the game? Then just go write a book. You know. So statistically, in my games, NPCs do have a higher mortality rate than player characters. Um, and I do use them to hit harder. Like if you create this character that your character is super attached to, of course the GM is going to use that not against you, but to motivate you to engage and to motivate you to do more things. Of course that's what's going to happen. That's how that works. The point of player characters making NPCs for their backstory isn't, oh, I've got this loving like support system that protects me and then I protect them and all of that. It's to give you ties to the world. And those ties are, of course, going to be utilized to incorporate your actions and to give you guidelines and to give you reasons to engage and do things. So, of course, I'm going to fuck with your NPCs in your backstory. Or they're going to fuck with you if they're people you write in like your enemies and stuff. Of course that's going to happen. Because nothing motivates someone like I've got this great job and I don't need to do anything else. Well, then as the GM, it's my job to make sure that you do. You know? And there's just no way around that. That's just kind of it's a personal opinion. It's how I feel about it, but it is what it is. And we're all pretty open with each other, but that doesn't mean that you see and hear and know everything about everything. In my life, you don't. You've heard a lot of shit, but there's plenty of things that have happened in my life you have no idea about. And the same is true for you as far from my perspective. And so when a player makes an NPC for their game, for their character, one, it's up to the GM whether they want to allow it. Like ultimately it boils down to that. But two, the player, realistically speaking, should only know whatever their character would know about that NPC. If you want to, if you said Talila has an ex-lover that we haven't met yet, and you wanted to add this character in, I would be game. Then you were like, okay, cool. Well, here's kind of his personality and why I want to add him. Cool, I'm down. And then you hand me a fully fleshed out character sheet full of his stats and everything. And my response is, well, that's cool. I like the suggestion, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's going to be what it's going to be. You know, you don't know that kind of stuff. And no player should ever have that much control over the game. Like the GM, outside of the GM, no one running a player character should have that much control over the game. Because at that point they might as well be the GM. They might as well be the one running the game because, well, you can't do that with my character because that's my character. Well, no, it's not your character. It's an NPC, a part of the world. It's not your character. Your character is, in her case, this rocker boy character. That's your character. Your parents, not your character. Part of your story, not your character. The nomad tribe that she works with, part of her story, not her character. Her bandmates, part of her story, not her character. She doesn't get to control those. She doesn't get to maintain them. And I think that there are a lot of players that run into issues with letting go of that because you can't control that. And, it's up to the GM to respect the lines, but part of the reason that GMs want backstory and they want characters that your people are engaged with is to engage you in the world. Because it's easy to be like, it's easy to, for a character that's like, well, I have everything I want, I don't have any problems, I'm not really attached to anyone or anything, and nothing really matters. Well, okay, why are you adventuring? It just seemed like fun. Okay, so what happens the second it gets not fun? What's going to keep you going when you hit that point of, well, shit, my life is hard now. I could go live on that plantation over there and high on the hog and no worries, or I can stay here and risk dying, maybe losing a limb or being maimed in some way or being somehow tied into some major crime or whatever the campaign is wrapped around. Making enemies with like kings and gods and dragons and whatever else. I'm gonna go live on the plantation, okay? I have no reason to be here. And that is why I firmly believe that no player should ever control an NPC. To the point that they should never be the ones statting them out, and beyond giving basic bare bones descriptions, they should not be involved in, like, because it doesn't matter until it becomes important to the character. And there's no reason that the player should be expunging and expanding on all of that.